Hello my friends and long time no see. I took a week off. I'm back. I'm ready to film and hopefully put out some fun and exciting. I don't know how exciting it's gonna be. It's gonna be like pretty much my normal content, so hopefully that's exciting to you guys. But today I thought we would talk about my favorite horror movies on Netflix. Now if you haven't seen it, I did a video, I don't even remember when I filmed the video, but I did my favorite movies on Shudder, and a lot of people wanted to know if I would do a Netflix version and a Hulu version, because I know most people have Netflix or Hulu. So I decided today that we were going to do the Netflix version of that video. However, I want to put a little disclaimer here. I'm not a big fan of Netflix and their horror selection. It kind of irritates me, and they take off a lot of good movies sooner than I would like them to. So this list is kind of, I don't know, it's not the best list I think I could have compiled, but it is the one that I felt I could without a doubt say I liked every single movie I was going to talk about. So there are some movies that I would have included on this list, but alas, Netflix took them off because Netflix hates me. So yeah, just keep in mind that Netflix is not my go-to for horror movies, and neither is Hulu, honestly. I really prefer Shudder, if I'm honest. It's my favorite now, but you know, I gotta give you guys what you want. So today we're gonna talk about Netflix, and yeah, I'm just gonna get into it. Okay, so the first movie we are going to talk about is Dark Skies. I'll read you the synopsis. A couple has trouble convincing friends and neighbors that an alien is entering their house each night to terrorize their children. Now, this is my favorite alien movie ever. I'm very picky when it comes to alien movies. I like the aliens to look a certain way. I like the plot to be a certain way. I'm just very picky about alien movies. This is without a doubt my favorite alien movie of all time. I love the way the aliens look. I love the plot. I love the acting. The ending is terrifying. I don't know, I just found it to be a really good alien movie. Now I'm sure people will probably disagree because alien movies are very different across the board. So what some might like, others might not. So this is just my personal favorite alien movie. This is what I think all alien movies should be like. So take that for what you will. Maybe it says something about me. I'm not really sure. All I know is Dark Skies is the best, and I've watched it so many times. Actually, I should probably watch it again. I haven't seen it in a while. So, yeah. Next up, we have The Boy. Let me read you the synopsis. A nanny is hired by a couple to look after their boy. She's shocked to learn that her charge is actually a doll that the couple treats like a human. Now, before anyone comes for me, I have mixed feelings about this movie. When I first watched it, I really liked the entire movie except the ending. The ending kind of ruined things for me. I'm not gonna tell you what happens at the end, but when I first watched it through, I was a little disappointed by the ending, and it wasn't what I wanted it to be. However, the second time I watched it, I realized that yes, maybe the ending wasn't what I wanted it to be, but that doesn't mean that it wasn't a very shocking twist. So I have to give the movie credit for the shocking twist, and that it caught me off guard, and that it made me feel emotions. You know, it made me feel something. It wasn't like I just watched the end of the movie and I was like, oh yeah, okay, great, cool. Let's go on to the next one. It was more, I had some type of feeling, whether it was anger, upset, blah, 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 disappointment, you know. I had some type of reaction, which I think, I don't know, I think it means something. So the ending's not what I wanted it to be, but I do really like the movie, and I've watched it several times, and I do enjoy it. I really want to see the second one. I am very excited about it. So yes, I do like this movie. It has its flaws, but I enjoy it. Next up, we have Creep. And this says, when a cash-strapped videographer takes a job in a remote mountain town, he finds that the client has some unsettling ideas in mind. When I watched this the first time, I fell in love. It is such a different kind of movie. I was unsettled the whole time. I was creeped out, literally creeped, haha. I don't know, it was just such a different kind of horror movie, and I like the way it made me feel. I liked the plot. The ending was crazy. I don't know, I just really liked it. The acting was really good. It was just a really good movie. And the sequel is actually really good as well. I didn't include it on this list just because I liked the first one more because it's the first one. But both 1 and 2 are on Netflix, and I highly recommend watching both. But number 1 is my personal favorite. I just think it's really good. It's so interesting. It doesn't sound like it's gonna be much. It seems like it's gonna be some B movie that's not gonna have a really good plot or anything like that, but it's just so much more than that. It's so much more than that, and I enjoy it. I love it. I need to watch it again. Oh, I need to watch it again, yeah. Next up, we have The Invitation, which if you saw my favorite horror movies of all time, this was included on that list, so I had to put it on this one as well. The synopsis says, a man accepts an invitation to a dinner party hosted by his ex-wife, an unsettling affair that reopens old wounds and creates new tensions. This movie is so good. I literally don't want to give too much away because it's just so, you just have to watch it for yourself, honestly. You have to experience it for yourself. You have to go in with really no expectations, because that's what I did. I had no real idea what this movie was about because the synopsis, I mean, have you noticed Netflix doesn't really give a lot most of the time? It's just like a 1-sentence blurb that kind of describes the movie, so you kind of go into these without knowing too much, and I kind of like that. Yes, it does leave room for you to find duds, but when you find something that's such a masterpiece, it's so worth it not knowing what you're getting into and then just being so surprised and loving the movie. So I don't mind it all the time that you don't know that much information. Sometimes it works in your favor, like The Invitation. This movie is so creepy. It's so dang good. Oh my god, I literally don't know how to explain these without giving so much away, but it's good. It's almost not action-packed at all. Like, there's very little, it's almost like there's very little that happens, but there's a lot happening. I'm sure I just confused you, but I know that's hard to explain, but it doesn't feel like a lot's happening. It's very quiet. It's very quiet. I don't know how to tell you. It just creeps up on you, and I like that. So next we have As Above, So Below, which was also on my favorite horror movies of all time list because it's a good one, so I'm including it in this one as well. And it says, a beautiful tomb raider and her crew hunt for treasure in the catacombs of Paris and find themselves in a hellish underworld. This movie, the first time I saw this movie, it terrified me, and it takes a lot to scare me. It takes a lot to scare me. I'm very hardened when it comes to watching scary movies, but this thing freaked me out. I don't know if it's because they were in the catacombs and that place looks horrifying and you would never catch me going in there ever, or if it's really where they end up. Oh my god. It's so freaky. I don't know how to explain it. It's just so, oh my god, it's just terrifying to think about. Like, it's just something that I would never want to actually go through because it would be so scary, and the catacombs, no thank you. I will never go in there, ever. Thank you. You warned me to never go in there, and I will never go in there. I don't know, the whole movie, beginning to end, is just so freaky, and I have watched this movie so many times. My boyfriend and I love this movie. We watch it so many times because every single time it's still as scary as the first time. It's just spooky, and I don't know, and no one talks about this movie. No one talks about this movie. I never hear anyone talk about As Above, So Below. I don't know if it's because it got bad ratings, which if it did, I'm devastated because this was amazing and it should have gotten amazing reviews, but you know, people have different tastes. So I don't know if people just don't talk about this movie or I never hear about it or what, but it deserves more hype. I'm telling you, it deserves more. Next up is Would You Rather. It says, in need of cash to help her sick brother, a young woman agrees to take part in a lethal winner-takes-all parlor game hosted by a sadistic millionaire. This movie, I saw this in college with my boyfriend. We were watching it in his dorm room and we fell in love. We made all our friends watch it after we saw it the first time because we just knew that they had to see it. I think about this movie constantly. I always bring it up. We'll be sitting in bed sometimes and I'll be like, hey, do you remember that movie? And it was like super crazy, and he's like, yeah. And we just talk about it because it's one of those movies that lingers with you. The ending, I can't say anything else because I don't want to ruin it, but oh my god, the ending, I was traumatized. This movie is a gem. It's a hidden gem that I don't hear people talk about. I found randomly on Netflix in college and I still don't hear people talk about it. This is from 2013 and I've never once heard anyone talk about it. That's devastating to me. It is so good. It is so good. Brittany Snow is in it. I love Brittany Snow. So if you like Brittany Snow, check it out. She's the main character. She's very good. I don't know what else to say. I just really like this movie and more people should watch it. Next up we have Hush. And it says, a deaf writer who retreated into the woods to live a solitary life must fight for her life in silence when a masked killer appears in her window. This movie is probably one of my biggest fears. Home invasion movies scare the actual crap out of me. Probably because I just am terrified of someone breaking into my house. I think most people are scared of that. It's a very terrifying thing that happens more than it should, and it's very scary. I think I also like this movie for the fact that the main character is deaf and she really uses all her other senses to the best of her ability and she kicks butt. She's just a good fighter. She's a good survivalist. She tries her absolute best and she kicks butt. Like, that's why I think I like this movie, is she's a good main character. I hate horror movies where the main character is kind of weak and just doesn't fight that hard. I mean, like, I get it. This is a traumatizing situation you're going through, but like, I don't know, your life's at stake, so maybe try a little bit more. And so when I find a main character who really freaking goes hard and is fighting for her life and just, you know, does the thing, then I fall in love with the movie because I want to see someone do good. I want to see them overcome evil. I like that. I like that aspect of horror. I think I just like this movie so much because the main character is just so good and she just kicks butt, okay? That's all you need to know. She's just a kick butt main character and I appreciate that. Next up we have Killer Klowns from Outer Space, and it says, an alien band of killer clowns descends from the cosmos to harvest scores of small town victims, cocooning their prey in cotton candy to eat later. This movie is dumb. And I don't mean dumb in a mean or bad way. It's just silly. It's kind of goofy. It's cheesy. It's an 80s movie. It's very over the top. It's kind of just, it makes you laugh. It's not very scary. It's just kind of funny and silly, and it's just a weird concept. I mean, they're clowns, but they're aliens, and it's weird. But I do like it. I thought it was fun. I didn't hate it. I watched it again, you know, like, it's a fun movie, and I think if you love 80s horror, you'll probably eat this right up. You will love it. It's gonna be right up your alley because it just encompasses 80s horror, but with a little twist of clown aliens, and you know, I appreciate the creativity. I appreciate it. It's weird, but I appreciate it. So that's why it's on this list. Next up, we have His House. And it says, as a young couple from war-torn South Sudan seeks asylum and a fresh start in England, they're tormented by a sinister force living in their new home. This movie is very new. It came out in 2020, and it's a Netflix original movie, I believe. Oh my goodness. I heard so many people talking about this movie, saying it was one of the best horror movies they watched in 2020, that everyone should watch it. So I was like, okay, hold up, let me check it out. And I did. This movie's so creepy. It is so creepy. You almost have no idea what's going on the entire time. I literally had no clue, but it didn't really matter because I was so intrigued and invested and spooked that I had to keep watching to see what was going on. I had to know. And the ending, God, that plot twist. Wowza. The plot twist was crazy. I never saw it coming. Oh my God, I never saw it coming. It's an insane plot twist. If you love plot twists, you need to watch this. I was just flabbergasted. It's one of the craziest ones I've ever seen. It's just insane. It was good though. It was so good. But that plot twist, I was like, wait. And then you should watch it. It's really, really, really good. And the last movie we have is Sinister II, which says, a single mother and her twin sons move into a rural house unaware of its history of being inhabited by an evil spirit that preys upon young children. Now, you're probably wondering, Erin, why did you put Sinister 2 on your list and not Sinister? Well, that's because Netflix doesn't have the first Sinister. It only has Sinister 2. Thank you so much, Netflix. Thank you so much. I love watching the sequel before the first one. It does that with Paranormal Activities too. I've seen they'll have Paranormal Activity 3 but never 1 or 2, or they'll have 2 and never 1, and I'm like, okay, but I don't want to watch them out of order. I want to watch them, 1, 2, like, ugh, that's so annoying. Anyways, I picked Sinister 2 because the Sinister franchise is one of the only franchises I actually really like 1 and 2 as much as each other. Like, I like them equally. It usually never happens for me. I usually like one or the other, but number 2 was really, really good. I had very low expectations for it because Sinister was so freaking good. And so I just knew that there was no way Sinister 2 was gonna be as good as the first one. There was no way they were gonna make it good, Sequels are never as good as the original. But when I went to see Sinister 2, I was pleasantly surprised. I loved the plot. I loved the characters. I loved that there were characters from the first one in the second one. I just loved the whole thing. The ending was so good. Oh my God, I just really, really liked Sinister 2 as well. I don't even know if I could tell you which one I like more. Honestly, I think it's a tie. I think I like them both equally. But that's why I picked Sinister 2, because it is just Sinister is just a good franchise, and I highly recommend them both, but Netflix only has the second one. So I guess you can watch number 2 before number 1, but that would be kind of lame, so maybe don't do that. That's why I have Sinister 2 on here. I know that makes no sense, but it is a really, really good movie. I highly recommend Sinister 1 and 2. They're both fantastic, and they're probably one of my favorite horror movies. It's so different and unique, and I fell in love the first time I saw Sinister, and I love everything about it. So yes, that concludes my list of Netflix horror favorite movie. What? That concludes my list of favorite Netflix horror movies. And this list is not, I don't know, it's not my favorite list, obviously, but Netflix just, I don't know, it's just not my favorite place to find horror movies. There's a lot of duds, like a lot of duds, and I hate watching a ton of duds to find a gem, whereas on Shudder I feel like a lot of them are gems and very rarely do I find a dud, which I prefer to watch more gems than I do duds, so I stick to Shudder nowadays. But if you have any Netflix recommendations that I didn't have on here and you want to give me movie recommendations, that would be amazing. I'm always looking for good horror movies to watch, so please leave your recommendations in the comments down below. If I didn't include your favorite Netflix horror movie in this list, please let me know what it is in the comments down below. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys want more of these horror movie videos, please let me know in the comments down below. I don't know what kinds you guys want to see. Do you want to see like my least favorite horror movies? Horror movies that I think are overhyped? I don't know. You guys can let me know in the comments down below if you want to see more movie videos. That would be fun. I like doing them. As long as you guys like seeing them, I like doing them. But I am so glad to be back from my break. It was a much needed break, but I am glad to be back filming. I missed you guys. I hope you guys are having a good 2021. I hope it's treating you well. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. It lets me know what kind of content you enjoy from me. That way I can keep providing you with that kind of content. Feel free to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. We can become friends and talk about movies, books, horror, makeup, all kinds of things. I do a lot on this channel, so hopefully there's something for everyone. And with that being said, I will see you guys on Wednesday with a new video. Bye!